Hi, welcome to the Jenn Hayward Show. Joshua, could you go online quickly to make sure my audio is working um, with this? So welcome to the Jenn Hayward Show. We're now 5 days a week at 5 o'clock. I didn't even do the countdown this time. I just started. So usually I ramble for a few minutes so we can, up that viewership. Also, my first guest is not even here. So there is no rush. We are currently going to be talking today to Paul Gagnon. He is a wonderful fella who is a painter, and he's going to be discussing all about paint. It is exciting. Don't let my lack of no. I love Paul. He's great. And then later on, we're having Andre the puppet from the hilarious Bobby Knauff. So if you're here, lay out a comment, tell me you're here. If you're not here, I don't know, then you're seeing it later. Still make a comment, whatever. The Jenn Hayward Show aims of those who know I'm a comedian and author, and I owned a business. Today I announced I closed my business for financial reasons, and I couldn't continue running it. Someone took the business over, basically bought the trade name, didn't buy the business, bought the trade name. Okay, it's working, hon. Thanks. Bought the trade name to my business and just found the same thing I did, that the model doesn't work. Today, I found out that I Deliver. I had been talking to them beforehand. They are taking over Gopher, its operations. They're great. They have over 600 vehicles. And I'm really happy to hear that the legacy we built, well, not for us, is going to keep serving people. So well done, I Deliver. While we're waiting for Paul to come out, let's chat. First of all, hit that share button, share to people. We are live. So, I can just talk into a void. I literally don't care. Remember, if you're on my personal page, that I cannot see your comments. So you want to hop over to the Jenn Hayward Show. And then there you go. So I just received some news from my friend Jennifer York that Phoebe Weber, that a lot of us know, was in a house fire last night, and that everything was destroyed, including their cats. And so we just want to say a little love to her. Watch out for a GoFundMe, I'm sure, to help with some of the equipment and things like that. And that's what's going on in the world, is that we're starting with tragedy. Now, I have said that the Jenn Hayward Show will remain positive, and it will remain talking and promoting the people and places that I enjoy. However, last night was a little crazy. And so I just want to share, I kind of lost it on TikTok. So while we're waiting for Paul, which I'll message him soon, I just want to show you, we'll call this, oh my God, he says he can't find the link for the show. It is in the other, it's in the group thread, dude. I'm literally live, Paul, and but I can send to him from here. I don't have to be rude about it. And that's what happens when you're doing a live show. I probably should ask people to come earlier, but hello. All right. I've had a few people come and go already because I don't know. I'm just not pretty enough. Something. Oh, there we go. Invite, copy, and send to Paul. So there we go. And sending him a link. Super. So anyway, we're calling this little segment Jenn Loses Her Shit. Just for a teeny tiny second, I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. So this was my TikTok yesterday. Ottawa has just declared a state of emergency because of the Freedom Convoy. Aren't we already in a state of emergency? Haven't we been in a state of emergency for 2 years?
My freedom!
This is breaking me. And I'm in Canada. I am far away from this, but I'm hearing it. I'm hearing about it. I am seeing divisions. I am seeing society crumble in front of us. And then I go on for a little bit. So I kind of lost my shit last night. And it doesn't even matter what side of this or any other subject you are. What is bringing everyone down is the huge line and division. People aren't talking. I encourage you to find someone you don't agree with, have a coffee, don't argue on Facebook, and try and talk things out. We need to do that one by one because it's not working. So before I bring Paul on, I actually have a for my huge viewership here. What? 3 people? Yes. Remember, if you make a comment on my personal page, I won't see it till after the show. So go over to the Jenn Hayward Show. But for right now, I just thought this was funny. So I've been playing with all of the settings here on our software that we use. And they have background music. And I was like, yeah, I like some music, right? And so I was looking, oh, this one says feeding the ducks. So whoever created this is the music they think that people listen to while feeding ducks. Hang on. That's some sexy ducks right there. It's like, what? This is the duck music? I'm just saying, if it was the bone-in music, it would make sense. But anyway, maybe they're watching ducks fornicate. That's right. I did a duck sex joke. All right. Here we are. I am going to bring my first guest. Paul Gagnon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Jen. How are you?
I am well. If you could do me a favor and share the live stream on your feed or from the Jenn Hayward Show with your people and say, I'm here now. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll see if I can multitask that in. Sure. I have no time getting on here, so.
I know. Well, we start Monday with a painter. I'm all about alliteration. Yeah, we were going to do it Friday, but I wasn't having it. I had done it every day. And now I'm here every day. We have our show. So while he's doing that, let me run down the week for you. Today, I have Paul and a puppet. And Paul is not the puppet, by the way. Tomorrow, I have adventure seeker Sarah on to discuss her trip to Costa Rica. I have Wednesday, we're doing a game show. So I am calling for people who are single or dating, or even if you're poly and dating, some of your worst disasters. If you want to talk about that, we'll have a little bit of a game show over which is the worst. And Thursday is Thursdays with Joshua Hayward. And of course, Fridays is funny, and we have the lovely Chuck Byrne. But first, we are here with Paul Gagnon, painter extraordinaire. How are you, Paul? How are you doing, Paul? Really, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to having all the restrictions lifted, like everybody else, and to try and get back to as semi-normal of a life as can be had at this time that we have. But my life is pretty good, Jen. You know, you're doing a show a night. So you're enjoying your retirement.
Yeah, retirement. What can I do that doesn't cost money or make me money? I'm like, this is it. No, I mean, I'm doing this for fun, and also I need to keep busy. You need to have some structure in your day, and I was working. You know, as you and I discussed, February 10th was the last time we had a chat, sit down online. And I was working at that time only about 85 hours a week, and then it was. In summertime, it got to about 100, sometimes 120, which I don't even think is possible. But we slept at the warehouse, and then I do not miss it for a moment. I love it in better hands, and I wish it well. Anything I do in the future has zero overhead and zero reliance on other people. I think those are my 2 takeaways. And so you own Flying Colors Painting. So what made you want to be a painter?
Well, and exactly what along the lines of what you just said about working, 70, 80, 90 hours every week. What made me want to be a painter is I was a contractor before. I got sick of living at the Home Depot. I was always going back and forth, and I forgot this bag of screws, or there was always something or a piece of wood that I needed, and I was always traveling back and forth. And I thought to myself, and actually no, that's not right. I spoke with another friend of mine who runs a very successful roofing company, and I said, what should I do about this? I asked his opinion, and he said, Paul, you need to focus on one thing, specialize in it, and but make sure it's something that you can manage teams through. So being a deck builder or any landscaping sort of contractor, there isn't how do I put this? I was on a one man show, but I had three guys working with me, and if I had left, nothing would have gotten done. So painters, it was a perfect fit for me. I had a couple of guys that I had trained, made them team leaders, and then just managed the work around them and let them do their thing. They're painters. That's what they do, and that's kind of the basis and sort of structure of the business when I first got into it. But uh, you wear many hats when you're first starting out. I've been on your show before. We've talked about the mistakes that we've done and the insanity. And what do they say is, the insanity is, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And until I actually uh, structured all my standard operating procedures on how to do things, I was always repeating the same mistakes again and again and again
And again and
and
again.
again. So I've taken on some training over the last couple of years, and I'm associated with a painting association now. And I have a different outlook on life now. I was working those crazy hours, and I was taught that now we don't need to do that. Like, I need to align. Have you ever thought about this? I'll just work too hard, next 2 years, extremely hard for 80 hours a week, and then I'll be able to, take a vacation or spend more time with my family. We all say things like that, and then, you know, as we're approaching the 2 years that we said we'd start to do it, your life's even more congested with things, and you're working even more hours, and it's like you start sacrificing it, pushing off what's important to you. Um, I was approached with the idea that how about if you have everything you want in your life right now and throw work in it well as well. And it was like, wow, that's a different concept because we don't think that way. We think that we can work our way out of out of a situation, and we're driven into it. Work hard, you need to work your way out of this. And I found that we don't need to do that. If you structure your business in a certain way, that I found that either I can automate what I have now, I can delegate some stuff out that I don't want to do, or I can just eliminate it altogether. You know, I decided about 6 months ago that I hate rush hour traffic in the afternoons, so I don't do anything after 3 o'clock. I just stopped doing it. I blocked that time off, and if you want to reach me between 3 and 5, I'm available to be reached, but I won't be in traffic. I will be doing paperwork or doing something in my office or home, and I just stopped doing it. And you know what? Who cares? I don't know. I live a better stressless life by not being in traffic and getting all anxious about being somewhere when I can just block that time off.
Well, I think that time blocking is something that people should do more. But let's go back
Hmm.
to the whole
Yeah.
working yourself out of the problem.
Hmm.
It's you get yourself in, especially when we have a small business and cash flow issues come. And
Yeah.
this is the number one thing I would tell anyone is make sure you have that cash flow, or all you're doing is creatively solving your problems and then creating more. So you're not just like digging yourself out and working harder, you're digging yourself out with no tools whatsoever. Um, I have to
I'm laughing because I've been there.
well, I have to say the lady who we've been dealing with for bankruptcy has been so nice. She's like, yeah, it sucks for everybody. She like no one's being mean or it just, we worked as hard as we could. But I find that we cheer each other on so much that we don't actually stop enough to say, hey, maybe that's a bit much. And I credit my lawyer, one of my lawyers, Robert Nadeau, you know him, and
I do.
who said to me at the beginning of COVID, because I was like, we're going to help as many people as we can. And we did. And then we imploded 2 years later.
Hmm.
And he called it and he says, you can't sustain that. But it was like a mission for me. And
Hmm.
I think that's why the people who now are operating our old go for it, like as of today, I Deliver is doing that. And what
Hmm.
they have is a balanced team of numbers and compassion. if you don't have the numbers, you go under. And if you, if you're all compassion, then well, that's when you go under. But if you don't know your numbers, or you're too compassionate, then if you're not compassionate at all, then you're just a jackass, and with a lot of money, but you can't keep customers. And so I think they found the nice balance. And I think for me, given that my life and work was originally in Indigenous corrections, I think I did pretty good, and I learned a lot. But so many people encouraged me, cheer, 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 boss babe, you can do it. And at the end, I was like, I can't do it. I told you guys I didn't know what I was doing for 5 years. Every business coach said, no, you know what you're doing. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Can someone please? And you know what? I'm smart, and I learned. And of course, I'm going to write a book about it. But in the end, Paul, work's not everything. Would you agree?
No, it isn't. You need to have an aligned life.
Yeah.
I,
Well, it's a
I live
balance.
by
It's
I live I live by a motto now. It's like, live free, discover what's possible, and make a company that everybody loves. Including my customers, including myself. If I'm working 80 hours a week, do you think I love the company? I don't love that. I really don't. And so I want to have both my clients and my employees just think it's the best place on earth to work. So if I go into this with that thought, and believe me, I've done that too. If you don't take care of yourself and your business, you won't be able to give anything away because you'll have nothing yourself. Like it'll demise itself. I am. I'll share this. I'm an alcoholic. For 12 years, I've been in recovery, and I knew that I can't help anybody unless I got my head on straight. So I had lots of thoughts of I'll do this, and early in sobriety, and my sponsors, who are much wiser and have trudged the road before me, said, "Whoa, slow down, man! You're a sick puppy." He says you need to get yourself better before you can start helping somebody else. And I think, that philosophy goes into business as well, too. And you need to have a solid, sort of foundation. And I got two of those. I got three of those too. I already fed them so they don't bark. So
yeah, someone's moving around in the house.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, there you go. So I really can relate a lot to that. Fix yourself, and then the rest will fall into place. And have a business that's on a solid foundation, and then I'm able to help people. You've really helped a lot of people with what you've done. And I'll be the first to say you've got some great causes and such too.
Well, I think the goodwill has helped me personally, and definitely has helped everyone who is involved. So when we moved on, oh, that's Gary, super. My printing has arrived. I was a little, but it is something in in a business, people say it's a family. It's not. First of all, I worked with my family in the business. It could have killed my marriage. And then the other part of it is when you have the ability to fire someone, they can't be family unless they are. But do you know what I mean? Like you're still their boss, and you're always their boss. And I like to be liked and be the friend. And then when I lose my shit, I'd be like, nice, Jen, until I lost my shit. And then I would lose my shit. Like, what the hell have I done? And then I guess I just stopped caring. I mean, you try and you try. But it's been a hard 2 years, right? I mean, my biggest thing was I was eaten alive in this industry by the big guys. And by the big guys, I will say, make good food. I will name you 1,000 times over. They dropped us. The games they played with us over the years were ridiculous, to the point that at the end, they sued one of our other potential clients. We were on the verge of signing a contract. They signed to them because one of their employees moved over to that company and had an injunction against working with us. And I was like, wow. So I don't care. Sue me. I have nothing. But people always want to know the story behind them. Yeah, they're just a horrible company. But for how they treat their partners, I'll say that. Yep. FedEx, by the way, the best. I'm gonna call out FedEx Express. The people in that team are amazing. Boom. When you have that freedom, you can just say whatever you want until someone sues you. But Paul, let's talk about sobriety for a sec, because I'm
Yeah, sure.
four
Okay.
months sober. It's my 18th attempt, and
Good for
it's
you, Jen. You know?
thanks. It was easier at the beginning because I wasn't home, right? I was in
Mm.
a convent in Zambia, and I didn't have access to a lot of wines. And I
Mhm.
won't lie to you, Zambian people are amazing, but they have the worst wine and coffee selection that I've seen. So that helps. But how is it? Is it truly for you been a day at a time for 12 years, or does it just get easy later on?
It gets easier for me. I found I'm pretty heavy involved in AA. I do
Okay.
still three meetings a week. I sponsor a bunch of people who are early in sobriety, and you know what? That keeps it fresh for me. It's remember when's all the time, and I was
Yeah.
like, I've been where these guys are, and
So you've been where I am, or
yeah,
just like,
I have been,
yeah.
and I found that having a connection to something that there's a bunch of people trying to get help for themselves.
Yeah.
I look at BNI as the same way, not getting help, but being part of
The
a
BNI is a
community.
group that we are
Yeah,
networking in at
yes,
6:30 every Wednesday morning. Great group.
it
And
is.
yeah, it's a
Yes,
group of people who are trying to help each other get ahead. Now, actually, let's address that, because some
sure.
people say for BNI, they're like cultish, and I'm like a little bit, or they'll say things about BNI. But in the end, uh, it's not well known. I'm sorry if he's watching this. I'm not a huge fan of one of the, I won't say it, but I love the people and I love the thing. But a lot of people will say, oh, it's only for people who have money. I said, that's not true, because I'm a member,
No,
but also I'm a Rotarian now too. Life has turned weird. But they also have, like when they say, oh, someone will just always, like, I'll always recommend Paul. No,
mm,
here is the thing, is that one, either I've used them and I like them,
yeah,
but my referrals mean a lot to people. I don't just shout out people just for existing, right? I have integrity. So one, either I've used you or I haven't. I won't lie and say I've used someone if I have, but I'll refer Paul. I have gotten him to do my painting. We had a great time. It was good. Let's do it. So one, that's why we all recommend people that we know. That's what we do. Two, let's say I had no need to get that done, like none.
mm,
Every week, we're talking about testimonials, customers. So we get to know the integrity of people. And I'm sure there's people, in a group of 50 that maybe they wouldn't be my first choice for recommending. Even for lawyers, I recommend Robert for certain things and my friend Kelly Stewart for others.
mm.
So we have our integrity behind it. But have you ever gotten any pushback from that, oh, no, you're just referring them because they're BNI, but they don't think they understand the relationships that go behind it,
Uh,
or
Not
any
really.
networking group?
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah, I don't feel obliged to. I don't come across that as well. If I don't know the person well enough for me to refer them, because really it's our integrity on the line. It's our
Yeah.
word.
It's your
That
word.
we're
Yeah.
stepping up for somebody. And if I don't really know the person, you're not. That's why they encourage people to meet and to get to know them. How you run your business, and there's only so much that you can get from. Uh, from looking them up online, or reading their reviews, sort of thing. So for me, I find it's a tool, and it's also, a way to have like-minded people that I can talk about business stuff with.
Yeah.
So that's how I use it, and the more I get to know the people within our chapter, the easier it is to refer them. And you know what? There are people that will drop my name in a Facebook chat or something, which
Mhm.
and I'm a lot like your referrals. Everyone that I send is like, if you call them right now, chances are you're going to get the job. Like
Yeah.
they're number 4 or 5s. With my referrals.
Yeah.
There's some referrals that come out that are like ones, that I
Mhm.
receive all the time, where it's, and that is, I know exactly what you're talking about with the obligational sort of referral, because you're part of the network, and I feel that I need to refer this person if I hear about it. But if I don't really know them, and I know somebody else that does it better, that I've worked with personally, that's not in our chapter, then of course I have some carpenters, and I have other people that
Or if
I've
someone
worked
was
with who are
brand new.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Well,
had an incident recently where someone came in for a short time. They weren't very good, unfortunately, but I had never referred them, but I certainly tried them out. So I figure if someone's going to come and I
mhm,
need that service, if I can afford it, I'll try. I've been to someone else where I just couldn't afford their, I'm like, I get it that you have a higher quality service, but I have this much money, so I'm going to have to go elsewhere. And the
yeah.
same thing for me. So now that, I mean, I'm no longer in the courier, people don't know how to refer me as well. So I've been slowly doing my one-to-ones and said, here's the
Yeah.
45 things that I do, because it is very vague as to be a comedian. So that's why I've started this show again, is because now I couldn't do it before. Because if you want to build a band, you got to be consistent. You got to do it every day, right? I could
Sure.
absolutely get discouraged by lower amounts, but I figure that consistency every single day is what I need to do. And of course, I'm adorable. People will follow and people see it after and all that. But it's, I enjoy the camaraderie in the morning. I
Mhm,
enjoy the I feel we've had such a change. I don't actually really know some of the new people, but
mhm.
that will come with time, I think. Um, if we're ever allowed to be in person again, uh,
Yep.
I'm not sure. After I've been trying to steer away from it, but I'm not going to ask you about the convoy. But I want to talk about politics and business, because this is what has happened. I don't even know his answer on this, guys. So everyone
Mhm.
knows I don't know where I stand on this issue. This is very rare where my worlds have all collided and I don't know what I stand. So, I mean, everyone knows on the convoy end, I am not a fan. I am not a fan for so many reasons, the difference between privilege and rights. That doesn't mean I'm a Trudeau supporter. That doesn't mean anything else except for I do not think they understand what a freedom is. And I am privileged enough myself to have traveled and seen people without rights. So I understand the difference regardless. Also, we have social mandates. We've had them for years. It's called the Indian Act. Digressing, the issue is right now is that to stop the occupation or to stop the convoy, a lot of people are using going after businesses that have supported them. One of them being someone who I've done business with and I consider maybe not a friend, but someone I'm close to. That sounds weird, but do you know what I mean? How you're like, you're
Mhm.
close to people you work with every day, but you're not friends. It's a weird dichotomy. So they went after and they've targeted his business and things like that because he was providing a service for the convoy that had he not done, they would have gone to Shell or something like that. So he was attacked. And my question is that should we be responsible for the choices we make politically if they're going to need those services anyway? And I think I go back and forth because I think he did not make a good choice by supporting that, and that there would be backlash, especially from the left, but also I don't agree. Like, if you want to call someone out for utilizing them, say, yeah, I don't like this service because it's your Facebook, that's fine. But when you go to their page and you start attacking them, I start to feel protective. So I would just like to hear someone else's opinion on it because I really haven't fully formulated because I don't think it's black and white. Floor to you.
I think on the business side of things on that, Jen, I think you're going to piss people off one way or the other,
Yeah.
regardless of what side you're on. There are both sides of the argument, and believe me, I have some people in my life that are uh, they're for um, vaccinations and they're for the mandates and then I also have people in my life who are, other members of my, immediate family and other workers and people that I know that are, they're right down at the rally and they're supporting that. And I mean, nobody's happy. Like, there's no answer that I can make. I believe me, I've listened, and I don't know what the answer is for this. I hope it ends well. I can kind
But
of see.
do you think it's okay? I mean, I'll say why I have an interesting opinion on this as well. But do you think it's okay for people to attack a small business because they don't agree with their individual politics? And I think
No,
that's more the question.
I don't think that's right at all.
Well, thank you.
No, I don't. However,
Yeah.
if somebody does give bad reviews and such, we do have a way to reply to those. Like we can respond to
Mhm.
anybody's reviews, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions. You know what I mean? And we can kind of make that person look, whatever way we want. As
Yeah.
a business owner side of things, I've had some bad reviews myself, and I've had a chance to say my side of the story as well. So I'm hoping that, when I read somebody's bad review, it's like, okay, I can put myself in that business owner's place.
I think that's it. Is the more people we talk to, the more different levels of compassion we can have for different situations. And that's why. So this actually happened to me in 2020. Now, I was very proud in my 5 years. We had only received 2 negative reviews, and both of them were from Good Food customers because one, we would go into elevators during a pandemic, and the other one, it was a snowstorm, and they were like, it was late because it was a snowstorm. Anyway,
How
but
could you?
I had to let someone go, and they were a person of color, and they were very angry, and they took to sort of the underground, and they actually said Jenn Hayward is not racist, but I got fired and really pissed off. Unfortunately, some people took to like very serious attacks on, and my theory in life was my reputation will stand for itself. I scrubbed, and blocked people who were very clearly fake accounts. But I said, I can't negate this person's experience and their point of view because I don't know historically what they've gone through. But I certainly, so I was in this balanced state where I didn't respond to it. I'm not, I know who I am as a person. But I thought it was just an interesting lesson from someone who is light skinned Indigenous to be on the other end of the privilege. And I saw the words that I wrote to her, and I agree 100%, no racism, but there was just a teeny little bit of classism. So I checked my own privilege in that situation, and I think that's what I'm talking about when I'm a radical feminist and I lived with nuns for 5 weeks, right? Going to, and we just found things, our commonalities, which is wanting to do good. We didn't talk about issues. Well, actually, we did. We had nice, healthy discussions because when you have them one on one, that's a nice discussion to have. When you have them over the internet and you're just screaming at each other in little TikToks like I did, well, you're not actually. And I know sometimes I'm not helping the issue. People follow me and I say stuff, but so I guess my point there is just I wish society would have a little compassion. So I go in, my entire life was dedicated to Indigenous corrections, and I walk into a business meeting, and it took me a long time to feel comfortable there and like I belong. And it's weird that now that I've closed down my business, I feel like I belong even more because you find the commonality, which is helping each other out, doing something good, and yes, there's times where I feel like, all right, well, I'm going to teach someone about privilege today. And then there's a lot of time where other people are teaching me things. And I think that's what we're supposed to do as society is help each other learn from each other's experiences.
Yeah.
All
I agree with that.
Kind of a rant, but I'm just gonna send to
But
Bobby. He's like, yeah, keep going, keep going.
I've learned in the past as well too to sometimes I need to sleep on stuff before I reply or respond to things. Restraint of tongue and pen, they say.
When I was drinking, yeah,
I've
yeah.
also had to bounce a we have a business writer in our BNI group where a document writer that I sent, I received a bad review, and I did everything under the sun to help this person and to accommodate him, and it still ended up, not being great. It was his review was like, and I had something all written up and ready to send, and it was like I better send this to Brenda and get her to check it. She just shook her head and said, "You crazy?"
Yeah, it's called emotional regulation. Well,
Yes,
that's the thing,
exactly.
emotional regulation. And I think what happens is when people feel out of control, because I was in my class today that I teach. It's all Indigenous women who've experienced violence of some kind. And I mean, we're listening to stories of women who are triggered, who are downtown, who one woman was in the apartment that the attempted arson happened at and things like that. So we have to listen to those too and say that, there is no right, there is no wrong. I have strong opinions, but I am certainly open to listening to where someone's thought process started. Everyone has a lens behind them. And even if they have hate in their heart, that hate came from somewhere. And just going like this, I just find doesn't benefit anybody. Although sometimes that's why I love my little TikTok, because it gives me 15 seconds to rage against the machine. And then I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to have a bubble bath. But Paul, Bobby's here and I'm going to bring on him for a little bit. So I'm going to put you in the green room. Do you mind sticking around for a few minutes? I'm going to pull you back up. We'll have some fun. But for everyone, for the 2 people watching, no, remember, more people watch it after. It's Flying Colors Painting. I have used Paul myself. Just say you saw him on the Jenn Hayward show. All right. So I'm going to send Paul away. I'm using StreamYard. I have no affiliate whatsoever with them, but they're awesome. I just love this network. So I am bringing on Andre the Puppet with Sir Bobby. How are you?
Hello. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Really good sound, actually. I'm not saying Paul and I have bad sound, but you're a professional sound person. How are you doing? You know what? I got to say, there's 3 of us and we're all sober. That's kind of cool. Hey, because I hope I didn't out you, but it's just like you talk about it on stage. So
I was literally about to say I was going to have Andre pop up first and I wasn't even going to participate. But when I heard you guys talking about sobriety, I was like, well, I want to join in on that, because that's always it's like a fun club when you find out another member. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, you've been sober for this long? So I've been sober it'll be 4 years coming up this June.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It is kind of that day at a time thing. This is I joke about the 18th attempt because that's really just since COVID hit, or since I started when I was working. But I remember, and I said this the other day, and I got really sad. I was actually in treatment when I was 19 years old. I recognized this about me early. And as I went through a 4-week treatment center, and my mom picked me up from the bus station on the way home, and we stopped and got alcohol. So sometimes you need an encouraging support network. So don't do that to your kids. I know my mom's not watching. She hates so it's fine.
That's okay. My parents aren't watching either. I haven't talked to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So but so 4 years, that's great. And he's 12 years. What advice would you give to someone?
Just kind of exactly that, like you were saying, like 18 try, everything like that. You just, if you want to, you want to, and it's possible regardless of how low you are and you think you can't, like, oh, this is my life now. Because I was doing like cocaine in the morning, like on weekdays. Yeah, just
you gotta wake up. I mean,
like I was living a life that I was just like. And now I'm sober, quit smoking as well. My girlfriend and I are about to get a dog. I do puppetry. Like, I volunteer.
Are you getting the dog that we saw online that I was
No. That was
okay.
No, that one was just helping out a friend who was like, anyone in the Ottawa area, share this around. We're getting a basset hound.
Ooh, they like to. I have a beagle, so and the Memphis. No one knows what a blackmouth cur is, so and a Memphis. He's the smartest dog I've ever met in my entire life. So, but that's awesome. So you are, very funny. So you moved to Ottawa and pissed off a lot of people because we were like, no, we're only allowed to have so many funny people because everyone's fighting, of course, to have you on their stage. You're a hot ticket item. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like I come from Thunder Bay, small town, like it's the hub up of Northern Ontario of anyone who like lives in that area.
It has taco time.
Yes, it does. And it like moving to Toronto from there, it's just like Toronto is like one of the most competitive cities when it comes to stand-up or any art, because it's like one of the only places that Canadians go to if they don't want to go to the States or over to Europe. It's Toronto. Like, and it's just like oversaturated. So many people fighting.
Good. Yeah.
And which is a great gym because it makes you get so good or like grit your teeth or quit. Because there's so many people I started with that were amazing, but just couldn't stand the life. And it is a tough, hard life to fight for things that are sometimes nothing. Because once you get it, especially in Canadian entertainment, the ceiling is and you get these few things and you're kind of like, why am I putting so much effort? And it just kind of comes down to a love of it. And then moving from Toronto to Ottawa was a big shift. It was just mainly COVID was bleeding my girlfriend and I dry, and we needed new jobs for a bit because we've all found out we're not essential. And so
I was essential and I went bankrupt, so don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Everyone was affected.
Yeah, I started putting up like siding in the winter in Ottawa last winter. So it's just like, I'm like, you got to do whatever you got to do. I'll do it. Exactly. I couldn't. To friends who stayed inside and everything and hunkered down with Serb and was like, I'm not going to do anything until I can do stand-up again. Good for you. No judgment. But I just couldn't for my own. I'd rather literally be outside losing my mind doing that job that I didn't like because it was something else to do. Because like as an addict, especially, COVID was a huge tester of my sobriety. It was like, you're going to get through this?
Isn't it though? Because I mean, I lasted 3 days without pot, and that was that. So I mean, we just decided, we made a plan, because before it was like I would be done class at 2. I got nothing to do, and I'm not even allowed to make a certain amount of money. And I was like, because I'm always hustling ideas. And I said, I think I'm going to have my bath at 2 now. And I was like, wait a minute, this structure doesn't work, because my bath was code. So now we're just like, just a little bedtime, just because my anxiety is, but it could have been a really slippery slope to alcohol, because I'd be like, you know what? I've gone bankrupt. The world is like, literally, we're in a double state of emergency. I'm pretty sure wine is okay, but I just know what happens at the end of that. So,
well, that's the thing. When you go sober, a lot of alcoholics can attest to this. When you do go sober, routine is a huge part of your sobriety, and your structure is just like this. So once the whole world kind of got flipped out and said like, fuck you to everyone's routine, if it involved doing anything with other people. And so like, and I've gone on to finally, because at first I didn't do AA, and now I do some online AA, and I started just going into person finally only in this past year, just because like when I tried AA in the past, it didn't work for me. It was all the attempts, and I was just like, oh, it's AA that doesn't work. And then it's like, kind of what you were saying with a lot of different things you guys were talking about, just the way people look at things. It's like people judge something one way and go, that's that, it's culty, or it's this, it's that, rather than like, well, why don't you just take the pieces that might work and apply them to yourself? And if you don't like this part, don't. You know what I mean? Like, and there's so many different ways. And then a huge thing that also got me through a lot of it was this guy, actually, Andre.
Yeah, Andre, and he came out, and it was so cool. We had our fundraiser for our hair remission, and thanks Africa, thank you. And you donated some time, and it was like the highlight. People should have said Fred Penner was the highlight, but it was the puppet. It was just literally, everyone was like, the puppet. And so this is Andre. Hi, Andre. I'm going to talk to you for a bit.
You get out of here.
You can talk about painting and sobriety. Is Andre sober too?
Well, I've been sober my whole life. I never drank nothing in my life. I'm good.
Well, that's good. That's good. So how have you been keeping busy while Bobby's doing comedy? Do you go with him all the time, or do you have to stay home?
He thinks he's funny on his own. He likes to tell his little bits, his little stand-up jokes, and he leaves me at home most of the time. But as you can see, when I did your fundraiser, people are really liking me.
People are liking you, I have to say. It's nice that you're both gingers, but you're like, you take the red to all new levels. I have to ask you though, don't tell Bobby I'm asking this, but I'm a little confused about him getting a dog, because one of his jokes is really about how dog people suck. How do you feel about getting a basset hound?
I am so excited. I love all the creatures. I love all the animals.
Because sometimes dogs like to eat puppets.
Oh, they're definitely gonna chew on my hand here. Don't worry. Look, I got scars. Look, that I burnt myself at Halloween. I was playing the Phantom of the Opera, and I burnt my hand. See those marks?
Yeah.
I was doing a photo shoot, and I put my hand on the candle, and he didn't notice right away because I don't have feeling. So I was like, "Ooh, this is spooky."
You're just like every other comedian. I don't have feelings. That's great. That's great. All right. You know what, Andre? I'm going to let you take over the interview a bit. I'm going to let you talk to Paul from the Paul and the Puppet, the painter and the puppet. There you are. Hi, guys.
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
I'm doing right. I'm good.
Oh, no, I liked it how it was before.
There we go. Hey, Paul. I like to. Oh, I'm doing great. That was so great. You guys, I thought you were just going to talk about paint, but you guys were getting deep. You were getting philosophical.
Did you think we're just going to be like, what are the primary colors? Test you.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be like, you put on a coat, you wait a bit, put on some more, show the client. Yeah, they put tape in the corners and stuff so you don't get it on. Wear clothes that you don't mind if you get paint on them, because you're going to get paint on them. But then you guys are coming out like, you got to take time for yourself and you got to live free. That was something that really stuck with me. You both were talking about living free. But you guys, I got to tell you something. When you live free, you got to remember, if you live free, you die hard. I'm glad you got that one. I'm glad you got it.
Oh, no, we got it. And listen, every entrepreneur during COVID has definitely done the estimation of how much their life insurance is worth and how much their business is going. Every single one. Like, there is no one who wasn't doing that calculation. So
This guy, he's a full-time comedian and a voice actor. He was worried. He's like, how am I going to feed myself? I'm not worried. I'm a puppet. If he dies, someone else will pick me up, Not to get dark or anything, but I'll survive.
I don't know if that'll be as funny. I don't think I could do a voice. Although, can I show you now, I've been a comedian for 20 years off and on. I write for CBC Radio.
I know you're funny.
Right? Thank you. And I had my little, call my nephew, but he's my best friend's son. He's 22 months old. And we've been playing this game. And no one will laugh in life as much as he laughs at me when I do this. I'm like, oh, here's the doggy, and here's the other doggy, and here's Uncle Josh, and who's left? And then I go, Auntie Jenn! And he dies laughing, and it's the best thing. And I think audiences should do that more. I'm just going to do that on stage and just say Auntie Jenn because it's funny.
Everyone's too judgmental. Everyone's sitting in the crowd like, is this really smart? Is this how long do they work on this joke? The audience can't write jokes. That's why they're there. If they could write jokes, they wouldn't be in the audience. You know what I mean? They should be appreciative. Even if a joke bombs, be like, oh, thank you. I don't know how to do that. Just like Paul, if they don't like your paint job, you should just be like, oh yeah, well, do it yourself. Let's see how good you do it.
Well, haven't, Paul, you said that the worst clients is the worst is when you have to clean up someone's mess. It's actually more expensive than from the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, I love DIYers. It's the best. It's now problem, and it's but I look at it as helping people, right? We're helping them get their walls back in order so that they can, either sell their house or rent it out or, live in something that doesn't have paint slopped all over the ceiling. So
for sure, exactly. I like to look at it as like we're all a house that's just going through repairs, Sometimes all we need is just a fresh painted coat. I mean,
fresh painted
coat. That's hilarious. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. But you know what I meant.
We'll sell it. You know what, Paul? Let's do it. We'll do a little fundraiser with that.
That's great.
Right there.
Oh, that's good. So, Paul, you're in the essentially painting is still part of like the home reno. And I know Bobby does that part-time during the day as well. And do you guys find that work is abundant right now? Is that what we're hearing everywhere, that there's short laborers, or is there not? Can you guys both wade into that controversial subject?
Well, I will go first. I found it's busier the last 2 years than I've ever been. I think mostly because people are not going on vacation. They have more money. They're staying at home and looking at their four walls a lot. So the people are renovating. The demographic of Ottawa, I found as well too. We're going through a real estate boom right now also. So there's a lot of people getting their houses ready for sale, and the people that are selling their houses are buying houses as well too. So there's a lot of activity going on behind closed doors in Ottawa for sure. So it's a good time.
Totally. Yep. There's lots of work going around, but and for sure what Paul's saying, but also it's tough right now. Not a lot of skilled labor. So Paul's skilled and he's got a good team.
Yeah.
But this guy was working. He was putting up siding. He didn't even know what he was doing. You know what I mean? People paying $500,000 for a house. This guy's on the side of it writing jokes.
Writing jokes while
he's doing it, thinking, you know, maybe someone else should be doing this.
But you know what? It got done. People paid, and now it's not. I'm going to tell you guys a funny story. I wasn't sure when I was going to release this story because it's kind of a beauty. So we're going through a personal bankruptcy, and I'm fine about that. In fact, lots of people will learn about it.
Money's made up anyways. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's a construct. So we were a little afraid, and we're still a little afraid of losing the house, but we accept whatever comes. As it turns out, when they're doing the evaluation of the house, and because the market is not in our favor, because houses are worth this much, but during our teen troubled years, and people who followed along those 4 years, you know, knew that there was golf clubs to wall. We never fixed any of that shit. Like, it was because of my teens' behavior. My house is not worth as much as other people would pay, so we might get to keep it. So I was like, yeah, finally that 5 years of hell paid off. It's awesome. So we'll wait and see. But it's funny. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. This guy wants to move, but I like it here. So every once in a while, I put an open can of tuna in the wall.
That's got to do it.
Bingo, bango. We're staying. You know,
you gotta sabotage stuff. There you go. Someone's walking in. I'm gonna get the nope. It stinks. Smart, Andre. Smart.
See, I don't smell, so it doesn't even bother me at all. I don't even have a nose.
Well, guys, I've really enjoyed our chat. Paul from Flying Colors, and Andre, and then of course Bobby. So I have to say, for a corporate event, you know, the Jenn Hayward show is always great. And if you want Andre, go straight to them. But if you want both of us, why not? We'll come to your door.
Why
not? And then just follow. If you see the name Bobby Knauff though on a comedy gig, go.
He's pretty funny. He's all right. And also follow my Instagram, Andre _ the alien.
Andre _ the alien. I absolutely think people should go. Bobby, your handler is a good person. There you are. And Paul is good people. And I only bring good people on now. This is not a platform that we're all going to spend time for 5 people to watch that I don't like. I want to showcase those 5 people. And the goal is to keep coming every day for me, and the ultimate goal is to build that viewership, and it takes time. So I want to thank those who come during the lower viewer, and when we're at 1,000 people, this is going to pay off, right? And it's so weird because people know people because I know people. Let me say that again. It's so weird. People follow. So my husband is almost like a little mini celebrity. He says he's out there and he gets stopped, usually by women. Oh my God, you're Josh Hayward. I heard Jenn say this about you. And he was like, yeah, yes, I do look like a gorilla in the mist. Like I've been doing jokes about this man for 20 plus years. So if you see Josh, buy him a coffee and definitely follow that beer thing because, hey, well, Josh, what you drinking is definitely going to take off. I want to thank you both. I'm just going to do my signing off. I think we're going to see Andre hopefully next Monday as well. I love the Marvelous Monday.
The luckiest people. Sorry, you got in my head.
God. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Paul. So listen, everyone, my connecting thought of the day is just don't be an asshole. If you can't be nice, just... If you're going to lose it on Instagram, definitely go ahead. If you're going to lose it on TikTok, go ahead and do that. Just understand, you losing it is fine. You being mean to individuals is not, even if you think they are completely misguided and should leave our downtown core. My name's Jenn Hayward. We'll see you tomorrow with Adventure Seeker Sarah. I'm ending broadcast.